This video review is made for adult collectors because Shockwave is the one-eyed monster.
I think we as Transformers fans can all agree that this Shockwave, this core class Shockwave, is a great figure, but it just needs a little something, like a Mario Super Mushroom. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie Voyager class Shockwave. Is it a good enough upgrade of this excellent little core class figure? Let's find out. I picked this figure up over at the Hasbro Pulse, and I gotta say, I really like the purple on this thing. The purple on this guy, I think, is much more a tone, or much more like his original G1 counterpart. And the overall aesthetic that we end up with is quite good, and it's kind of like an evolution of this little guy. While this little guy's purple and grays do work, don't get me wrong, they do, I kind of like it better or darker at this size class. The metal, or the gearing and the molding on the legs is, I mean, look at this. Look at all the molding that they've managed to get on these legs, especially at the knees and at the upper hips. It's so good. It's so detailed. And then we have this beautiful chest that's obviously got machine inlays and machine molding in the upper arms and in the tummy, and that chest is evocative of the original figure. The only thing that I think, or the only place where I think the figure falls down a little bit in robot mode in terms of the looks, is that central eye. I'll talk about that in a second. The one thing, though, I really do like is all of the little battle damage and battle scuffing works on this figure where it hasn't in a bunch of others. We've got some battle scuffing, like siege battle schmutz here, and we've got some battle schmutz up on the shoulders. It's done here in a tasteful manner. It's not just thrown willy-nilly all over the place. It makes sense where it is, especially when you consider the figure's vehicle mode, which we'll get into a little later. Now, about that eye. It's got light piping, but it's not very good. It's not very good at all. Let's see if I can even get it. Yeah, once you get light coming in from the top, it does illuminate, but not that well. Unless you've got the light directly over the head, even then, it's not great. When you do get it, it works, but it's not perfect. It really could use something like an LED plugged into the head or something like that. Doing a quick 360, you can see the giant cable coming off. I'll pull that off and show you that in a minute. And you see all of the, well, let's just say that there are a lot of screw holes on this guy. There are also a lot of ports for other things, and some of that is for the transformation, but it's well stylized and well molded. I do wish the legs weren't hollow there at the top of the shins, but oh well. Now, the giant cable coming off of its back plugs into his big arse gun. And it's a very, very big gun, and it's probably my least favorite thing of this design. I really hate this gun. I like Shockwave's gun to be a single thing mounted on the wrist, or mounted on the forearm. It's not gigantic, but it is usable. But in this, it's just too big. It's just too big. But that is the design, and unfortunately that's what we've been going with Shockwaves for the past couple of years. Now, the core class figure, obviously, it just looks like he's holding a gun with the core class figure, and it does look pretty big. This guy, however, it's mounted on the forearm, and it does unpeg, and you have a completely usable hand inside, which means you can mount it on either arm, which is something I greatly appreciate. Now that cable, totally removable, 100% removable. You do not need it at all. And in fact, in the vehicle mode, I think it's a bit of a detriment, but we'll get there. And so here we have the gun. Now, eagle-eyed viewers might note that I have had this thing collapsed, and I kind of like it looking better that way. You can extend it, and this is specifically for the transformation into tank mode, and it becomes a... Honestly, it looks like somebody attached a machine gun to a big Cybertronian chunk. But yeah, it does that. And then it does have this port or this peg flip down. This is for plugging in to the tank mode. Now you might think, oh, I could just, I don't know, have him hold that. Well, there's actually a little bit of plastic on the handle that prevents you from pushing it all the way into his hand, but you can push it enough that he can hold it. But it doesn't work because it constantly flips about, and the actual hand does not hold the gun all that well. You can kind of get it jammed in there, but I don't like the way that looks at all. The other thing I don't like is once you've unpegged it, there's nowhere on the figure you can mount it. You can't put it on his butt. You can't put it on his keister. All the holes that are back here are too small. You can't put it on his shoulder because there's too much in the way. There's nowhere to store this thing in robot mode, which is a shame. Now what isn't a shame is this nice cable. It's soft plastic, very malleable, very, very bendable. That's great. Perfect. It's not too hard. It pegs in to both spots on both shoulders very easily and pegs into the side of the gun with no issues whatsoever. Pegs are nice and soft. Will they stand the test of time? I don't know. We will find out. We will all find out together, I assume. And just getting it lined up. There we go. Oh, and you can, if you extend the barrel, attach the gun on his forearm with his hand extended. You don't have to fold up his hand. So, yeah. Overall, I think the robot mode is pretty solid. Some minor flaws here and there, but overall, solid. Posability time. Head is not on a ball joint, but it is on a swivel and can go 360. Shoulders are on swivels for 360. Hinges that go almost T-pose quality. There is no bicep swivel, unfortunately. Bend at the elbow is about 90 degrees, and then each fist is on a ball joint, though it can just kind of swivel around. Something I don't like is the pin that holds the tread for the transformation. It's very loose on both arms on my copy. There is torso articulation just above the crotch. Legs can kick forward plenty at about almost 90 degrees. Can kick back just over 90 degrees. And the figure can do the beautiful spread. There is a thigh swivel. There is a swivel just above the knee. Knee bends at 90 degrees. And then the feet, well, they can move forward and back a little bit. Well, mostly forward for the transformation. And there is just a tiny bit of side to side for the ankle rocker. Size comparison time. Gamer Prime, Leo Prime, Dragon Megatron, 86 Ultra Magnus, Sandstorm, Who's a Good Boy? Who's a Good Boy? You're a Good Boy, Starscream, and Soundwave. I don't yet have Megatron. I am trying to get a hold of him, just haven't found him for a decent price yet. The figure has a figure stand peg in his keister, so you know what that means. He's meant to be posed on a figure stand. Shockwave's transformation is eerily similar to his core class counterpart figure. So first I'm going to unplug the cable and unpeg the gun just to get them out of the way. Extend the gun barrel. Great, done. Move it off to the side. All right, come down to the feet. Come back to the shins and flip these little treads around 180 degrees. You pull them away, flip them around, and then push them in. Take the feet and just fold the feet up until they click into place. And then we can spread the arms out a little bit, take the legs, and ratchet them up like that. For the arms, come down to the arms and just straighten them out and fold the fists up into the forearms and close them up. I already did that on this side. And then point them back, and they will actually snap into place. There are little pegs on the tops or backs of the elbows that will snap into place behind the forearm guards like that. And just kind of get them up and moved to the back. And then there are little tabs and tab holes. And I think this is why there's no bicep swivel, is because this connection wouldn't really have been possible without re-engineering the shoulder. So, I don't know. I'm not missing the bicep swivel, though. I'm really not. I know there's a lot of fervor for the missing bicep swivel. It doesn't really hurt the figure. Grab the chest, and this is actually pretty hard. I actually had to get a spudger to first unpeg them because they were pushed in so hard at the factory, or it was pushed in so hard. Then unpeg it from the belly, fold the entire section over, and then there's this little bar that will actually peg into the tops of the hips. And just get those lined up like that, and then bring the legs up and get them in line with these pegs. There are peg holes on the inside of the knees, and they will peg into the sides of the chest. And I did that off camera. I'm sorry. See? Peg right off the top of the chest, peg hole at the knee. Just peg those in place. Come underneath, and then fold up the belly, and that will peg into that slot right there. Like that. Okay, we are almost done. Take the entire head assembly and chest and rotate it forward. You can actually see the pin that connects everything. Bring that forward until it snaps into place. Grab yourself your giant cannon, fold the handle down, and that handle will peg into that hole right there. And then we can take the power cable and bring it on to the back, but it doesn't. It kind of reaches, but it will impede movement. So we'll talk about that in a sec. And we're done. That's the vehicle mode. Now, I'll say of all the Decepticons so far, Starscream's vehicle mode is probably the most successful, followed by this guy, and then a very, 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 very distant last place is Soundwave's. The only thing I don't like about this is the head is still visible. I wish there was another joint in here that you could fold the head up into the body. Oh my god, did I just miss that? Holy crap, yes I did. Well, yeah, okay, never mind. That fixed my only issue with the tank mode, is that the head was visible. I missed that in the directions, whoops-a-doodle. But yeah, it's got this alt mode has a lot of... This alt mode harkens back to the Transformers Prime Shockwave figure. Is that weird quadro tank that Shockwave has been for the past couple of years, and it works. I kind of like this better than whatever the hell the submarine mode is supposed to be. But Siege, the figure came with all those components that turned him into a flying starship, so that works. But yeah, this works really well. The tank turret has a lot of range of motion and can even go up all the way, but this stupid power cable does get in the way, especially if it's going that way. It does stretch, but it's not very elegant. And when you do that, you do have the problem where this just kind of moves up and down. There is a screw right there. You can tighten it a little bit, but just be careful. But overall, it's a very solid vehicle mode, and I like it a lot. It holds together really well. It's super solid. Things don't unpeg. It's just good. You know, it's funny. I'm still bummed about Soundwave. Soundwave really got a raw deal with this whole toy line because, man, that alt mode, it's like a flying Cybertronian cheeseburger. That's not an alt mode. That's a mistake. I know what they were going for. They did the best they could. I would have accepted a street lamp or something over that, but what are you going to do? I don't know if there are any third-party tweaks or third-party bits that you can buy that give him an actual vehicle mode as opposed to what is essentially a space crab. That's the only thing that comes to my mind is like a space crab or a space pizza. Oh, no, didn't want to fold that one out. Oh, boy. Unpeg that, turn it around. Okay. And transforming this guy back and forth is just fun. He's got a fun transformation. He's good in all the modes. And it's just so solid. He's so solid in both vehicle and robot mode. I mean, look at that. that just oozes Shockwave in a new way. Originally, I was not going to pick Shockwave up. I just wasn't. I wasn't interested in it. And then I saw a couple of reviews, chiefly That Toy Guy and Emgo and a couple of others. And it clicked with me. The figure really clicked with me because what we've got here is a really good figure that's an evolution of the core class figure in the best ways possible. And it looks great, especially when you've got him with Starscream and Soundwave. And hopefully I'll be able to get a Megatron soon. So folks, this is definitely worth picking up. I got this over at the Hasbro Pulse. I believe it is still available. So head on over there to pick one up for yourself. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. As always, I have been Baltmatrix, and I will catch you all next time.